Chapter 28 of Heroes of the Middle Ages. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Heroes of the Middle Ages by Eva March Tappan. Chapter 28 The Children's Crusade. A marvelous thing now came to pass, for the children of France and Germany went on a crusade. Stephen, a French shepherd boy 12 years old, declared that Jesus had appeared to him and bidden him lead a company of children to rescue the Holy Sepulchre from the infidels. Other children joined him, and they went about from village to village bearing crosses and candles, swinging censers, singing hymns, and crying, "God wills it! God wills it!" Soon a great army of boys and girls, including the humblest shepherd lads and the children of wealthy nobles, started to march for the Holy Land. No one could stop them. The king bade them return to their homes, but they only cried the more, "God wills it!" They broke away from their friends, from the very arms of their parents. The older folk knew not what to think. Some said this was the work of Satan to destroy the children. Others believed that it was the will of God that where armed men had failed, innocent children should succeed, and they dared not hold them back lest they should be fighting against God. In Germany, too, there was a boy preacher, one Nicholas, and he aroused the German children as Stephen aroused the French. The little German boys and girls set out, 20,000 strong, many of them wearing long gray coats upon which crosses were sewn. They had broad brimmed hats, and they carried the staffs of pilgrims. As they marched they sang hymns. One of these had come down to us. It begins, "Fairest Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature." But the way grew rougher and rougher. The air of the mountains was cold. They came to desert places where there was no food. Thousands died, and when the others reached the city of Genoa, there were only 7,000. Still the children did not lose courage. God would open a way from them through the sea, they believed, and soon they would be in the Holy Land. They would tell the story of the good Jesus. The infidels would listen and would become his followers. The morning came. They waited patiently on the shore at Genoa, but no path was open through the sea. There is a tradition that part of the children sailed for Syria, but what became of them is not known. Some pressed on to Rome. They told the Pope about their journey and their sufferings. He said that it was of no use for them to try to reach Syria, but, as they were bound by their vows, they must go on a crusade when they were older. By this time only a few children were left. Many had died, as has been said, some had been stolen or sold as slaves, and still others had stopped in one place or another. Nothing now remained but to suffer the long hard journey home, and at last this, too, was ended. "Tell us of your wanderings. Where have you been?" begged their parents and friends, but all that the tired little crusaders could answer was, "We do not know." Meanwhile the French children, 30,000 in all, had set out for Marseilles. Their way was less rough, but the heat of the summer was terrible. Many of the little ones had never been farther from their homes than some neighboring village, and whenever they came in sight of a city wall or a castle, they would ask piteously, "Isn't that Jerusalem?" After a journey of 300 miles, about 20,000 of them came to Marseilles. "Let us stay here tonight," they begged, "and tomorrow God will open a way for us through the sea." No path was opened, and many started to return to their homes. At length two merchants offered to provide vessels for all who wished to go to the Holy Land. "We do it for the cause of God," they said, "and we ask no reward but your prayers." Then the children were happy. "This is the path through the sea," they cried joyfully. "This is what God promised us." 7 vessels full of the bravest of the children set sail to cross the blue Mediterranean. 18 years later an old priest came to Europe and told the sad ending of the story. Two of the seven vessels had been wrecked, but the hundreds of children on board the others had been carried to the coast of Africa and sold to the Mohammedans as slaves, for the generous men of Marseilles who had so kindly offered to carry them across the sea were slave traders. Not one of the seven shiploads of children ever saw his home again. CHAPTER 29.